JJ Spaun is your U.S. Open champion. His first major, his first win this season. He had 3 top fives coming in, so he's having his best season of his career. Normally, we bet on him on lesser events on shorter courses like the one this week. But this is the U.S. Open at Oakmont, and he comes in there and basically as accurate off the tee as I've ever seen him.
Yep.
His iron play was dialed, and a new focus and a whole different approach on short game, thanks to this coach who's now very much a different person now. Didn't just change JJ Spawn's life. That short game coach that revamped his entire short game before this tournament, that dude's getting paid.
Oh, yeah.
And the short game was absolutely phenomenal for JJ Spawn. This guy had no business winning the U.S. Open at Oakmont in this field with everybody around him in these conditions. And guess what? He goes out there and does it on Father's Day on the heels of a 3 a.m. CVS run with a puking kid on Father's Day morning. Perfect segue to 5 bogeys in his first 6 holes, 4-shot deficit going into the rain delay. And he still there. Nevertheless, he persisted and hits a ridiculously good drive on 17, the drivable par 4, 20 feet, 2-putt birdie, 18, one of the toughest holes on the golf course. No problem. Find the fairway, you're gold. He hits the fairway, he hits the green. He barely hits the green, but then a gift from the golf gods. Payback from hole number 2 where he stuck it off the flagstick and ended up bogeying a birdie hole. Payback, karma, golf gods, all balanced out for JJ Spaun in the 18th hole because he hit his approach to 65 feet. He needs 2 putts to win over Robert McIntyre, who was 3 under on the weekend at Oakmont.
Yeah. Bobby Mack played insane.
That's the craziest stat is Bobby Mack, when the conditions got nasty, the Scot comes out there and says, pull up your Blarney Stones. We're going golfing.
He said, wait a second. I know how to play here.
Yeah, he was great. But JJ Spaun on 18, Victor Hovland throws his approach shot just a couple inches outside of his line, giving the perfect teach on the lag putt of his life. And honestly, that was supposed to be a lag putt. Yeah. But when he saw Hovland take an aggressive pace at it and it only rolled 4 feet past, he knew he could go after it. And Hovland's fast, aggressive putt still missed on the low side. And JJ Spaun knew I can play more break and I can hit the ball hard and go after this hole. It's like, why do it in 2 when you could just hammer it home?
That's the crazy thing. Is like, even if that missed, he's what, maybe 18 inches coming back?
2 feet max. Yeah, 2 feet max. Because it's uphill past the hole. He saw that from Victor's putt. And that was 65 feet on those greens with you've been putting it on fast greens up until that day, the whole time. And you have to account for the undulation, the speed of the greens, plus the moisture on the greens. And that was a perfect putt. It was dead center.
And even crazier about this whole thing, even with that putt made, only his 3rd best putting round of the event.
Yeah, that's how good he was with short clubs in his hand. JJ Spaun won the U.S. Open on the heels of an immaculate short game performance.
Yeah, you truly couldn't, like, if you look at the breakdown, if you look at the correlation on Data Golf between what typically matters and where this ended up, like, putting technically mattered less here than it does in a traditional event.
True.
You see him just obviously ran away with it because of the putter. The rest of his game was good. It wasn't bad by any means, but throughout the tournament gained essentially a half stroke with every other club in the hand. And then with the putter gains 2.5. And then you see a guy like Hovland who lost strokes with the putter, lost just 0.1 strokes off the tee. And like, that was the difference, is just truly.
Yeah. His iron play wasn't quite good enough to beat JJ's short game.
Exactly.
And speaking of putting, The best putter in the field coming in was Sam Burns. He goes out there, shoots 65 on Friday. That was a ridiculous round of golf. That was the toughest conditions of the whole week were on Friday. And he goes out there, and when guys are shooting like that daily average was 76 that day, 76 average, he goes and shoots 65 with zero. He bogeyed the very first hole.
Yep.
Full bogey, 6 birdies coming in, 65. Takes a 1-shot lead into Sunday. Looking pretty good. He's just making pars while everybody's kind of falling back. He had a couple shot lead, then he fell back with a bogey, and then the rain delay hit. And the course got soaked. In a short amount of time. It's debatable that they should have Monday finished this sucker since a playoff would have been Monday anyway. I think so. But they decided to continue play on late Sunday afternoon. And there's a lot of water on that golf course. You can see him with the squeegees. Yep. And Sam Burns on 15, very, very difficult hole, especially on approach. You have to hit the fairway to have any chance at par on the hole. He hits the fairway. It lands with a splash. The only reason that drive did not plug is because there was too much water in the way. It hit the water on the ground and splashed as it landed. And he gets up there and he's in about 3 or 4 millimeters of standing water under the ball and around the ball, bottom of the ball. And then his stance has, as soon as you step on his stance, you can see water rise up. Does the right thing, calls the rules official over. Hey, I'm thinking about getting taking a club length away from this standing water from the giant rainstorm we just waited an hour and a half for. And the first official comes by and says, "Nope, it's not enough standing water." But okay. That's bull. So calls another official over. They delay even longer. And it's a really big deal. This is one of the toughest approaches, the toughest tucked pin on the golf course that day on 15, back left. And he cannot afford a wet golf ball underneath it. Like even a couple millimeters of wet golf ball underwater. You can't control the spin. You can't control the trajectory. You don't know where the ball is going to go. It's like having mud on the side. And second rules official comes over, says the same thing as the first one. The 2 most bogus rulings in the history of golf, by the way, back to back on the same play. And it's the USGA US Open. They're the governing body. They write the rule book. I think there's cobwebs on those officials' rule books based on the way they ruled that. We're talking a lot of what he was basically trying to play that approach shot, the biggest approach shot of his life in a puddle. And
yeah, it was tough. It was a tough look.
A spin hook into the left rough, short-sided, automatic double bogey where it should have been a par, could have been a birdie, most likely a par, cost him at least 2 shots on the hole, and effectively it went from tied for the lead to no chance to win in one decision made twice incorrectly. So the controversy is, what is wrong with these rules officials of the actual governing body of the rules of golf in the United States? And how badly did Sam Burns get absolutely screwed in this deal?
Yeah, I mean, I will say he got screwed. Absolutely. That should have changed. I don't think he wins even with a good ruling there.
It's fair because he unraveled completely after that, but after the rain delay, he double bogeyed the very first hole, number 12, I believe, and then 11, and then 12 is a par 5. Birdie hole makes bogey. That's a bad look. And if he comes out of that rain delay at all close to good par, he wins going away. Unfortunately, he's 3 over the first 2 holes after the delay. He's tied for the lead, and then 15 happens, and then the wheels are fully off after 15 because 16 he was messing around. 17 he was already out of it, and so a birdie hole, it's still too late at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he had no semblance of the game he had the other 3 days on. He lost almost 5 full strokes total on Sunday. He just
Pretty
had
much just on the back 9 Sunday too. Like he lost all those strokes in a span of 6 or 7 holes.
Yeah, he just lost all semblance of what made him so good throughout the rest of the tournament. It's unfortunate. Would the ruling change much? Probably his paycheck coming home. Probably cost him a few $100,000, but I mean,
but I still think he's there with McIntyre and Spaun at the end.
He's close for sure.
Yeah, especially if you're not 3 shots back going into 17, that becomes a very interesting hole. Like what happened with Spaun is he birdied 17 and 18. Nobody's really doing that on the golf course.
Yeah.
But McIntyre shooting a 68 on Sunday. Crazy. That is monster. That is an all-time, like, tell your grandkids about that round of golf. Like, even though he didn't win, you could see he was just full applause for JJ Spaun because Spaun deserves it. That was an incredible win for him.
Yeah.
It hurt my feelings that I didn't pick him, but what a moment.
Yeah, I mean, courtesy of Monday Q Info, one of my favorite Twitter accounts to follow. If you guys don't follow him, you absolutely should. Just basically gave the last like 10, 11 years of JJ's career, going from making like 2014, made one cut and $825 on the Canadian tour. And then you see him come over, he finally gets on Korn Ferry, gets his card, loses his card, goes to Korn Ferry finals to get it back. 2021 only keeps his card because it's the COVID year and they let basically everybody keep their card. Then has a really good year in 22 and then loses it, or doesn't lose it, but loses as good of a game as he had in 22 and 23, got even worse in 24, and then just comes out and just masterful performance.
Now he's got 3 top 5s and a major out of nowhere this season.
Yeah, it just truly,
you love to see
a feel good story. And it was awesome to watch. Like,
and for all the things we talk about this season, Scotty and Rory is what about like Ben Griffin and now we got JJ Spaun with these moments. Like, these are the real stories. These are guys that were barely scraping by thinking about quitting professional golf.
Ben Griffin was doing mortgages 4 years ago.
Yeah. He literally did quit playing golf.
Yeah, did that. And then you look at even just his last 6 events, 2 wins, a top 8 at a major, a top 10 at a major, and a second place finish at the Memorial, one of the more prestigious tournaments just out there. Like, dude, and he's a guy who's out here. He's like, his golf ball sponsor is Max Fly. Like, Dick's Sporting Goods essentially is sponsoring the guy's golf ball. It's a great golf ball. No knock on it. I love playing it.
I played noodles for a while there. The Max Fly Pro Ball that he plays is pretty close to it feels like a TaylorMade to me, or a Srixon. It's not that far off.
It's a tour ball. Like, you get the stories like that, and they're just that's so much more fun to me than just, like, seeing events like this where we have, like, you look at the top leaderboard, maybe you would probably consider Hovland and Rahm, Scheffler to be the only like true household names in the sport that are in the top 10. You have JJ Spaun and Bobby McIntyre, Cam Young, Carlos Ortiz, Sam Burns. Like, half those guys, like, us nerds know them.
Obviously, we know lots of golfers, but your average casual, let's say you watch golf on TV when it's on, or when you're flipping through and you catch it and you just feel like watching it for a while. They'll recognize Rahm and all the guys that went to live. They might recognize Sam Burns from previous year's success.
Right.
But like Ortiz and Spaun, they don't know who those guys are. They're not close enough to the game to realize that even if you go 200 deep on the PGA Tour, they're all really good golfers. And every dog has his day. We hope that the Ben Griffin story and the JJ Spaun story won't turn into a Wyndham Clark story. Over the weekend, obviously, Wyndham Clark missed the cut at Oakmont because, of course, he missed the cut at Oakmont. It was a terrible fit, and he's been playing awful golf this year. And his frustrations have already taken their toll on the PGA Tour with his destruction of the T-Mobile banner a few weeks ago with throwing his driver in disgust at himself. Damages his own sponsor's sign on the golf course.
That was the funniest part. That's his like number one sponsor.
That's going to come up in the board meeting, I'm pretty sure. Not just damaging sponsorship billboards. We're on to allegedly, but pretty much confirmed, Wyndham Clark, in his frustration from missing the cut by a mere 6 shots, he decided to take it out on the lockers, the wicker locker inserts at Oakmont, which are probably older than his grandma.
Yeah, they're. And the craziest part is learning that's not even the most damage that's been done to that locker room.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that lots of people have done the same thing as him, and it's just never been documented because not everything's as in touch as it is these days. But Wyndham Clark is starting to develop an MO, a modus operandi for when he doesn't play well. Is he used to be all sad and weepy, and now he's enraged to the point of vandalism. This is it's an alarming trend for Wyndham Clark, who has always been a fiery player, but he's already crossed the line, and this is so far over the line that I think that any level of discipline, short of a short suspension, would probably be too light, because this is happening more frequently, and he's progressing, and damage is done.
Yeah, I've never liked Wyndham Clark. I'll start off by saying that I don't know if we'll see a suspension. The only reason we may is just because it's a major.
Kick him off the tour, Doug.
Kick him off the tour, Doug. I mean, we saw, was it earlier this year, late last year, Tom Kim messed up a locker room, didn't really get any punt. Like, they don't really do it. The only reason it might is because it's Oakmont. It's a super historic venue. It's the U.S. Open run by the USGA. I don't know. I've never liked Wyndham. His whole shrink the tour after he had one good season where he would have been the guy that was shrunk off the tour for the rest of his career.
Yeah, and then we would never get to see this illustrious 25 season where he's basically on his way to losing his card anyway.
Yeah, he's in the official world golf ranking. He opened 2025 at, I want to get the exact number here. He was the number 7 player in the world. He's dropped 20 spots. Like, they're live golfers who have not dropped as many spots as he has.
That's bad because they're not getting any points.
No, they truly are only getting them at majors. And if they play like an Asian Tour event or a DP World Tour event.
So is Wyndham Clark currently ranked above or below Joaquin Niemann?
That's a phenomenal question, actually.
Because Niemann has won 4 times on the Live Tour, and he's actually placed better in majors, or at least at the PGA. Niemann is getting no points for his 4 wins on Live.
He is still ahead of Niemann. However,
unreal.
Niemann has essentially been neutral in official world golf ranking points
this year.
Which is
impressive. That shows his results have kept him there, basically, right?
Yeah, he has not dropped 20 spots while getting to play in events that give you points every week.
Wyndham Clark not making points and actually damaging private property. Come on, Wyndham. Dudes do better.
I texted my buddy Sam and I was like, I'm not saying I could beat Wyndham Clark in a match straight up, but I'm not saying it wouldn't be close at this point.
It would be
golf right now.
It would be close, and you could do it because it would be super easy to crack him in match play, like getting in their head, playing mind games with that guy. Piece of cake. Everybody's played with a hothead who takes himself way too seriously, and the way to beat them in match play is just to let them implode. Like, to let their demons just start just picking at them, and just little backhanded compliments, like when they make a birdie early in the match and win a hole. Like, damn, that was a really good hole. Great job, dude. And they hate it because they're trying to intimidate you, and you're just like,
yep.
Yeah. No, I think if you got in his head, you would absolutely beat Wyndham Clark at his current form.
He goes to chip a ball on and still leaves it off the green. You're like, I don't know if laying up was the play there. Just hit him with some of those quick jabs.
He should have used the 7-iron to get a little more run out.
He'd be 19 over through 7.
He'd probably take out the lockers at the club you're playing at.
Sir, you can't flip the golf cart over. I'm going to do it anyway.
He can. He shouldn't.